Welcome to the live stream of the Dorchester School District 2 Board of Trustees February 8th board meeting. These meetings are held on the second and fourth Monday of each month and always provide useful information regarding the operation of our district and schools. These meetings are recorded and posted at dd2.org/live. Before the meeting begins, please note these important announcements. The following are important dates to keep in mind. February 15th, elementary returns to full face-to-face instruction. Middle and high schools remain in hybrid. February 15th through 18th is Bus Driver Appreciation Week. February 22nd, middle and high schools return to full face-to-face instruction. There is also a Board of Trustees meeting. Dorchester School District 2 students enrolled in the Virtual Academy are being provided meals at no cost through curbside pickup at 5 school sites on Tuesday and Friday from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Meals for breakfast and lunch will be served 2 days a week at the following locations: Alston Middle School, Fort Dorchester High School, Somerville High School, Oak Brook Middle School, and DuBose Middle School. Students must be present, or a registered placard should be displayed at the time of meal pickup. Visit dd2.org/contact for school addresses. Dorchester School District 2 is hosting a teacher recruitment fair on Thursday, February 25th. Candidates will have the opportunity to interview for teaching positions at this event. To register, visit dd2.org/teacherfair. Click Apply to complete and submit an application for Job ID 870. For more information, contact the Personnel Department. Thank you for joining us this evening, and make sure to follow us on the Dorchester District 2 Facebook page at Team DD2.
Good evening. Thank you everyone for attending our board meeting tonight. I will call this board meeting Monday, February the 8th to order, and I'm going to need an approval of the agenda, if I could please. Motion made by Mr. Mitchum, seconded by Mr. Farnsworth. Any discussion? All in favor? 6 and 1 absent. Now, our welcome and invocation will be made by Ms. Robinson.
Good evening. If you would like to share a prayer with me, we'll bow our heads. Our dear Father in heaven, we are grateful to be meeting this evening as a school board. We acknowledge how blessed we are to be living in a caring community and in a country where fundamental freedoms are enjoyed. As a board, we are mindful of the stewardship that we have been given to represent our community in various matters of education. And because of this stewardship, we ask Thee for guidance and direction to work together with our district leadership, as well as our elected state and local representatives, to make the best decisions possible for our students, our teachers, and every employee that touches our children's lives. At this time, Heavenly Father, we ask a special blessing on those who do teach, that they will have the energy, the desire, and the patience to go the extra mile with not only the eager learner, but also with the student who may be struggling. We also ask Thee to bless our administrators with all that they stand in need of, so that they may continue to be successful in their very critical roles as they make day to day and sometimes minute to minute. We are indeed grateful to Thee for all of our blessings, small and great, and again ask for Thy Spirit to be with us. In Thy holy name, amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Next on the agenda is our public comments on agenda items, and we have no public comments on agenda items, so we're going to move on to our school highlights, and Ms. Rayner will present those for us tonight.
Board, Mr. Pye. We're delighted to begin or resuming our highlight portion of the agenda. That is a very important part of what we do, is to recognize the wonderful things that are happening every day within our district on the part of our students and certainly our staff. So we're going, and what a way to kick it off. It's our pleasure to recognize one of our own, Leslie Gilrus, who is the music or band director at Summerville High School. And Leslie has once again received national recognition for his outstanding ability to create beautiful music, not only with his students, but for others. So we are very, very pleased to recognize him in his latest achievement, and we have asked our Fine Arts Director, Jason Walsh, to introduce to those that don't know Mr. Gilrus, and certainly to tell you a little about the power of this award that he has received. Mr. Walsh.
Good evening, Mr. Pye, School Board. The National Band Association is founded in 1960. It is the largest band organization in the world. It's reached the highest level of achievement. Their purpose is to promote band and educational experience for bands throughout the world. Each year, since 1977, they have sponsored a composition contest called the William Ravelli Composition Contest. He was the band director at the University of Michigan for 36 years. So each year, about 50 to 80 compositions are presented to this contest from all over the world. They whittle that down to the finalists, and then that is whittled down in Chicago generally. This year it was done virtually, but whittled down to they find a winner. This year, Mr. Gilrus received third place out of all of those from his composition called From Whence They Came. So a little things just to embarrass Mr. Gilrus and tell about how wonderful he is. So he's the director of bands at Somerville High School and has been in this role for 19 years. During his tenure at Somerville High School, the concert band has consistently received superior ratings. The marching band has been a medalist in our state championship every year since 2013. And he's been the state champion twice. His groups has been featured at the South Carolina State Music Convention 2 times. He is a published composer and has had 4 works performed at the prestigious Midwest Band and Orchestra Clinic, which is considered to be the most prestigious in the world. And just to let the cat out of the bag, as of Saturday, Mr. Gilrus has been named the president-elect of the South Carolina Band Directors Association.
Wow.
He is a true asset to our state, our district, our community, and he's become near and dear to my heart. In fact, I just moved to Somerville in July, and the first person to reach out to me on my very first day was Leslie Gilrus, invited me to lunch. He is an amazing person, so please help me congratulate Mr. Leslie Gilrus. Thank you all so much. We gotta get a photo. Photo on. We're not distant. Thank you all so much.
I want to add that Mr. Gilrus Yes, I was a part of the hiring process for him 19 years ago. And I saw fireball in him, and I thought, well, there's no way anyone can live up to the expectations that he has for himself and he's made us have for him. Well, he surpassed those. The late, great Mr. Moody, who led our band, was also the head of the State Band Association and had great connections. Leslie's connected to everyone, and I'm very competitive. And I don't want to hear that Leslie has written the music for the band that beat us. He writes music for other people, so does the marching setup for them, does all kinds of things. He is well-versed, extremely talented, and he's very gifted. We are honored to have someone of that nature in our school district. As I hired directors that we've had down through the years, Mr. Barnfield and others, in their interview, they mentioned Mr. Gilrus as being a reason why they want to be in our district, because of his name in the Music Association and the conferences. I attended a conference in, I guess it was Nashville. Where was it that y'all performed that you took our high school band, or was it Columbia? It was in Columbia. I'm telling you what, you would not believe our group of students. They were just, you couldn't find anything on any TV station that could top it. I was blown away listening to them, as was the audience. I mean, people were crying and carrying on, and we had a lady from Nashville that had headed up the whole Nashville Fine Arts Association there, and that's the music capital of the South anyway. And she said, there's no finer in our association than this young man. So, Leslie, congratulations to you.
Wonderful. And I think he represents the passion that all of our teachers have in the classroom and for their students. So I agree.
You'll probably get a new band room tomorrow, but that's okay.
It's our pleasure to join in the celebration of one of our students, a senior, James Grievous from Fort Dorchester High School, recently learned that he received a perfect score of 600 on the Project Lead the Way Civil Engineering and Architectural Assessment. This is just an extraordinary achievement. For James, this means that he is received a rating of distinguished, which is the highest rating in the assessment that you can receive. And as importantly, he is receiving dual college credit based on this as well. So it was very important to James, and I will add too, he is currently #1 in his class at Fort Dorchester High School. So he does well in whatever he puts his mind to, obviously. But it was very important to James that we invite his teacher to be with him tonight, and that is Mr. Bartolet from Fort Dorchester High School, because he certainly credits him for a lot of the motivation. And I think before Mr. Bartolet is going to come up and say a few things about James's achievement, but I think what is so important at this time that we've all been through is what is continuing to happen in our classrooms, the commitment of our students and our teachers to excel. And I think this speaks to the quality of the program at all of our high schools, certainly in all of our schools. So with that being said, Mr. Bartolet, it's yours.
I just wanted to say, just real quick, Assistant Principal, Breon Packett, Fort Dorchester High School. Our mission statement is, through relevance, relationships, and rigor. And Mr. Bertolet, with the support of Ms. Miller, has really made this possible. So I just wanted to give a special shout out, because it truly is the reason that James is here is because Mr. Bertolet was here. I spoke with his mom, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that, we appreciate all you do. So I'm going to pass it over to him so he can speak about James. Thank you.
Thank you. I've taught at Fort Dorchester High School for the past 17 years, but I've had the privilege of teaching James for the past 2 years. He is a generational talent. With his work ethic and innate brilliance, I truly believe that he could do anything. James is a rare combination. Not only is he academically gifted, but he can work with his hands, and he has common sense. I have met very few people in my life who I can say that about. This kid is going to be special. He's going to do great things. He is a future leader. But I don't know who I'm kidding here. He already has done great things. James got a perfect score on an exam that is not designed to be perfected. Now, the lowest score you could get is 100. The highest score is 600. And basically there's ranges for performance levels, ranging from novice to practiced, up to accomplished, and then ultimately distinguished. Now, to get accomplished, which would get you that dual enrollment weighting, you gotta be right around 350. Now, our average at Fort Dorchester High School is higher than 350, but not much higher. About 365 is the average. And James got a 600. Just let that sink in. That's incredible. I don't think I could get a 600 on it. That's incredible. He really is a special kid. Like I said, a very rare combination, the work ethic, just the innate brilliance. He's on the school robotics team, does great things for them. I'm just so proud of him, and I'm just happy that I could be part of his life. Another point here, so with that dual enrollment weighting, he also had 100% in my class. That's also not easy to do. So he got, for this course, he has a GPA of 6.0. When I was in high school, y'all, I got a 4.0. I thought I was smart. 4.0 is not as high as 6.0. So anyway, James is just a great kid, and that's why I'm here today, to celebrate this achievement. So James, you want to come on up here?
And I believe James' mother is here tonight, and would you please stand, well, wave or stand? And I asked James about his future plans, and he said he is considering, he's applied to about 7 schools, and most recently he has interviewed with Stanford University. So we wish him the best and know he will succeed. Other places too. Congratulations. Thank you, Ms. Hughes.
Thank you, Ms. Rayner. Thank you for their school highlights, and congratulations to both of our school highlight people tonight. Both of those accomplishments are unbelievably awesome, and we appreciate everything that you do for our district and all the great things that you're going to be doing in the future. So thank you very much. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of our minutes. Board members, in your packet, you should have received the minutes for the regular meeting of January 25th. I need a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie, seconded by Ms. Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? 6 and 1 absent. Okay, and next on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Mr. Pye.
All right, I hope can you hear me all right with the mask on? Very good. I'm working on it. I'm getting a little bit better. I practice a lot. First of all, last week we started the hybrid schedule at all of our schools, after having been in e-learning for a while. Monday was the teacher work day to close out the first semester. And we did a lot of changing of schedules and things from the virtual academy back into the face-to-face model and vice versa. And we've had a lot of changes that we've had to make. And our administrators will be applauded for the enormous work they have done behind the scenes to try to accommodate each student's schedule, moving completely from one thing to another and still making sure that the child is safe and in the right place and doing the right things with his IGP. And I'm just blessed of how they've worked hard on this. I've toured some schools. I know I was at Somerville High School. I was so impressed as I watched the ILT that Tuesday, first day back now. These students haven't been there in a long, long time, since December. I want to know when the ILT was going to start. He says it's over in 5 minutes. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and this is one of those narrow hallways. The way they lined up, the 6 feet apart, I mean, it's like they've been practicing this forever. I was so impressed with the way the students handled themselves without teacher supervision. Teachers were standing in the doorways, but they weren't out like I'm used to in elementary, where we have to adjust everything and move people about. Not here. They were acting like very responsible adults in the way they were handling themselves. So hats off to them. The ILT was over with from beginning to end in 20 minutes. And I had one of the leaders from Sodexo was with us as we looked at the servings and those kind of things. And we talked about when we go back to full face-to-face, how I want the hot meals. I want choices for our students. And I know nutrition is the name of the game. But these are old enough boys and our students that they can make some choices. If they choose they want a hamburger instead of having broccoli, I think that's their choice. And I want them eating. I don't want them to go hungry all day. They can't learn when they're hungry. And when I was their age, I wouldn't eat broccoli either. So it was one of those things, just do without or get something good that you know you're going to eat. So I would have been promised by Sodexo that they would work on that, and we'll have good, wonderful menus to get our participation back up and make the lunchrooms inviting once again. They're still working on schedules out and about down the schools, our team looking at how the plexiglass around the desks are working. In most cases, it's been a home run. Some places, not so. The schools turned in what they wanted, and now they're changing their mind after they see what they ordered. So we're trying to make last-minute adjustments, switching them off, maybe elementary with another grade level or whatever, and see if it's working. And by and large, we're doing quite fine. I visited Wando High School, Lucy Beckham High School, and West Ashley High School to see what they were doing, and learned a lot of things that we can do better. Was very proud of the things that we're doing that I didn't see. So every school is doing something different, and we're trying to share our knowledge with each other. And I was very impressed by that. And our folks that are secondary level with us took lots of notes and came back and made lots of changes, and they're still making those changes. We ordered today a large number of ventilators, purifiers. Lord, let me get off of that. I have ventilators on my mind because I thought I was going to be on one not long ago, but the bottom line is not ventilators, humidifiers and things. So we're getting very best kind. Our room's about 800 square feet to 900 square feet. The ones we're purchasing will cover 3,000 square feet. Those are maintenance basically free. You don't have to change the filters and all every 3 months. It's long-term maintenance. We think you get your bang when you do that, and plus it won't overwork the machines. They'll be there, and with tall ceilings or whatever kind of ceilings we may have, we've got plenty of ventilation. Of course, we'll have them in our gyms, our libraries, and all of our big rooms, but they will be in the classrooms too. So we're putting those out and about. Feel pretty good about it. The kids, all the students that I saw at Somerville High School today was there. I saw several hundred probably throughout the day. Never a case where someone didn't have a mask on. It's like they slept in it and that they just don't know to take it off. I went in the rooms, and of course they don't want to talk at that age, not like the little ones, but they were all glad to be back. They said, we're glad to be back. They miss the socialization. They miss the teacher interaction. I saw that. And the teachers that I spoke to, I didn't speak to a small sampling, they too were very glad to be back. And so I think they're looking forward to having more time together, as everyone's concerned about catching up. We want all our students to have the same opportunities this young man just was presented. Now, he's a self-starter. He's got a lot of natural ability that all kids do not have. but we can provide that structure, that net for these kids, and we can make everybody successful in some way. So that's what we're doing, and I feel like we're well on our way to making that happen. We want to remind you that we will be starting the face-to-face model in the elementary on February 15th. 1 week later on the 23rd, middle and high school. That's still on track. That's where we plan to be. So please, those of you out listening, make sure of those dates. Did you have something to add to that, Ms. Canarins? 22nd. I've been 1 day off on this whole thing, and none of y'all have said a word to me out there about all the. I've been this way the whole last 2 months. I just added a day. So the 22nd. Please don't start on the 23rd. You'll have missed the day. It's the 22nd. Okay, so much for that. Any questions from the board about our opening week? I sent you a pretty comprehensive list of things I noticed and saw, and again, there's just so much positive. And of course, we're still dealing with all the basic issues from, buses and things that we've always had, no matter what the schedule was. And we're doing a miraculous job. I thought our buses were on the rusty side for having been out of commission for 4 or 5 weeks there. That first day, there were a couple of hitches of people missing their schedules. Wasn't because they were necessarily running late. They just didn't come because they did not have it down. They were supposed to be at a school at 10 o'clock, and it was the same school, 2 drivers, and we straightened that issue out. I did not receive one complaint in the district office on school buses other than that one, and we rectified it immediately when we realized that they weren't coming because they didn't know they were supposed to come, but we found them and we corrected them and everything was fine. So buses are all good. Food service is doing fine. Our custodial folks are doing a miraculous job of keeping the rooms clean and keeping us all safe. And of course, our nurse is just phenomenal, keeping us abreast of what's going on in the health field and the latest things that we should know to make our children, our environment as safe as it possibly can be. So we're well connected. We're staying real close and connected with MUSC, latest partners, and all the other groups that we're working with, staying on top of things. We actually are trying to work on the vaccination for our teachers, not only to get it moved up, but have it shortened like it could be done in 1 week for all teachers in the district. It could be done within the week, the first shot. And of course, we have to do it again. We'd have to work out schedules so we could get people done, and I hate to use this, but it may have to be an e-learning day if that's the way to get these teachers done at school. They're willing to bring the mobile units to the schoolhouses individually and go through the entire faculty, those who are wishing to be vaccinated, and then move on to the next school. And they know they can do several schools in a day, if not 5 or 6, from what I would gather. It just doesn't sound possible, but they say they can do it. So we're really excited. We just can't wait till we hear we're getting those doses, and then we can get those schedules lined up, and we're going to move them through just like everybody else is moving them through. And then we'll have to go to another site now. If the teacher wants to go to her doctor or his doctor or Doctor's Care or Walgreens, wherever they want to go, they can still do that. We're going to provide it right there at the school, so there's nobody should be inconvenienced, and we can get it done quickly and get on about our business and have them right back at the classroom teaching. Okay, with that said, I want to move on to another great issue, and that's our foundation. How blessed we are that some years ago we had a board member who really wanted to start up a foundation, and we began talking about it and got involved with community members, and we found Miss Crosby out there to lead us and guide us, and it's been so successful. They're very quiet, and we talk about sometimes too quiet. They're doing some magnificent things. And they've got some things they want to share tonight that I think are very important for us to hear. So if I could have her, and Mr. James Weaver is the chairman of our foundation board. So if they can come at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you dazzle us with some of the great things happening within the foundation.
Dazzle. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Mr. Pye. I'm Jenny Crosby, Executive Director of the Dorchester 2 Educational Foundation, and with me is James Weaver, who has been a board member since 2016 and currently serves as our board chair. We're excited to come before you tonight. As you know, we were established, as Mr. Pye was saying, in 2013 as a 501c3 in response to the need for alternate sources of funding for the district. So we haven't come before you actually since July of 2019 because of our focus on the pandemic. So I'm going to do my best tonight to hit just the highlights of what's been going on since then. Thank you. So as you know, the Foundation's mission is to create and build partnerships to support the advancement of education in our community. Our vision is to support you, Dorchester School District 2, in producing world-class students who are world-ready. We have an entire team that helps us execute on that mission and vision. In order to ensure that each student fully recognizes his or her potential, we must work together to create innovative opportunities in the classroom. We have an excellent team of 12 volunteer board members that are committed to high-quality education and recognize the impact that our schools have on our community. Each one commits their time, talent, and treasures to support our students, and we're so grateful for their dedication. We aren't in this work alone. We do benefit from participating in several professional networks. The National School Foundation Association is probably our greatest resource. Sometimes we feel alone locally in what we're trying to do, but nationally we are not at all. And so we learn a lot of great best practices from school foundations all over the country that have been really making substantial impacts to their districts for decades. So that's a great resource for us. And then I'm sure you all are also familiar with Together SC, which keeps us plugged in on the local front with other nonprofits across our state. We also have not been before you to share. We were very excited to be recognized by the Greater Somerville Dorchester Council Chamber of Commerce for their 2019 Nonprofit of the Year. I think that's largely due to the growth and impact that the foundation has been making, and just as a reminder that our success is really just a reflection of the community support for the schools and their recognition of all the hard work that our schools are doing. I'm going to let James take it from there.
Good evening.
Want me to do that for you?
Our partners appreciate the value of a strong public education system to the future of our students, the region's future workforce, and the overall welfare of our community. The initiatives that we support have traditionally fallen into these categories, but this year we were able to pivot in order to support the district's needs through the pandemic. The foundation has been the facilitator for district staff to receive Best Teacher grants through Bosch for 4 years. In 2019 through 2020, 10 DD2 teachers were funded through this program. This school year, we know that teachers have a full plate, and as they constantly monitor and adjust their practices, but we were thrilled to say that all 3 teachers that applied for funding received their grants in full. Last year, the foundation granted innovation awards to nearly $50,000 to create opportunities for students across the district. 17 projects were funded, reaching all levels and all schools. Projects funded through our innovation awards bring hands-on STEM learning to students and also serve as a motivational tool for our best and brightest teachers as they have access to funding that supports their individual creativity. The decision was made to pause on our Innovation Awards program this year based on feedback that teachers would not be able to prioritize grant writing in the midst of a pandemic. We look forward to being able to reinstate this initiative in the fall, and we'll invite you all to join us for our prize parade as we surprise the winners. The foundation was excited to support our middle school students as they hosted Reality Town events for students. The simulation provides performance-based incomes and real-world scenarios to students to navigate. Several foundation partners volunteered to staff the stations that students visited in order to live out the day in Reality Town. Feedback from our visitors was very positive, as several even commenting on how they wish that they had been able to experience something similar in order to learn some of the life lessons through simulation. preparing our future workforce. As you all know, each of our 3 high schools has one program that is unique to their school. The agricultural program at Ashley Ridge High School has consistently expanded in its offerings and the number of students enrolled. The team and students at Fox Ridge Farm have implemented several agribusiness ventures that help fund the program, but unfortunately, the shutdown forced those to cancel. The result was a significant financial loss. Upon learning of the shortfall, the Foundation Board approved a donation of $6,000 to help the program. Stay tuned to district and Ashley Ridge social media channels and communication networks for opportunities to support the farm moving forward.
So the Foundation's most exciting, newest initiative involves the implementation of a marketing program at Fort Dorchester High School. We are thrilled to kind of get back in the game and have something new and fun to be able to offer for our kids. We will help to convene industry partners so that they can offer feedback regarding the curriculum as well as work-based learning opportunities for those students as they progress through the marketing program. We're really excited about the valuable experience that students who choose to be a part of this pathway will receive, and then also helping to prepare a future workforce for that industry here locally. With the support of the marketing program, the Foundation will have partnered with each high school's unique program. So that's a huge milestone for us. As you all know, we certainly worked with Somerville as they brought in their manufacturing program. We've had some great partnerships brewing with Fox Ridge Farm and how we can support them. So this marketing program will kind of bring us around full circle and having a strong partnership at each high school. So we're excited about that. So this slide is the COVID slide for us. These are all the things that sadly we had to miss out on as we've all kind of scaled back gatherings and taken different safety precautions. It's changed so much about all of our daily lives. For us, when we gather to support the district, we build important ties with our community. That's the opportunity for our community to come together, not just as the individual school that their child or children may attend, but as Dorchester District 2. And we feel like that is one of the most valuable components that we can offer as far as the intangibles. Just helping people come together and realize that we all have that in common, and we all really know that we need strong public schools in order to have a thriving community. So we miss it. We look forward to the opportunity that we can once again gather and celebrate together. Hopefully you guys have started to recognize all of those things that are up there, and we look forward to their return as well as some new initiatives that we have coming as soon as we're able to safely gather in groups. In the meantime, watch for some exciting news from us this spring. We've got our event committee chomping at the bit, as they say, to move forward and have something positive to work on. So we're putting together some fun ways to make good use of auction items that we already have on hand, raise a little bit of money for our schools, and help bring people together to celebrate.
The Foundation's first initiative after schools were closed involved our generous and longtime partners at Bosch. Through their support, we were able to repurpose funding of $45,000 to provide hotspots for students in the spring and early summer of 2020. The devices were used to keep students on track for graduation, to support remediation for struggling students, and even provide reliable high-speed internet for some faculty members. As this school year began, we reached out to our community and asked for their donations to support the unknown need that we might face. With feedback from district leaders and teachers, the Foundation Board approved a donation to support our Project Lead the Way classes at all secondary levels. Students in all 3 middle schools and all 3 high schools will now have access to additional equipment and tools used for hands-on learning. These kits will be used in all Project Lead the Way classes and will allow students to experience hands-on building, coding, testing, and so much more despite the modifications to group work that are necessary to keep students safe. So with that, I'd like to invite Mr. Pye and Ms. Nadine Miller, our Assistant Director of Career and Technology Education up front with Jenny and me to accept our donation that we're proud to announce of $65,000.
Jenny and James, did you get in the picture? James, did you get, oh, just get, there you go, perfect. Trying to get all those zeros in.
Yeah.
So just to close, thank you guys so much for the opportunity to share an update with you. We are always so excited to join with you and with our community. Together, we're helping students to imagine the possibilities. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I do, if I could just ask, because it's just amazing when you saw the list of how much was given to different schools for different things. I had two questions. Is there a criteria, and is it as needed, or are there certain deadlines for them, just so we know?
Yeah, good question. So we call that our Innovation Awards. There are 2 tiers. So if you have a classroom, maybe a couple of classroom teachers that are working on a project, they would be eligible for our first tier of grants. And then if you have a grade level or a school-wide project, you would be eligible for a second tier, a larger sum. $5,000 and $2,000 is where we set those marks in 2019 based off of feedback. We have a rubric that we use to score those grants, and it's given to the applicants along with the application. So they know right from the beginning exactly what we're looking for. We do give extra points for STEM focus, since that's what a lot of our donors and community partners have expressed they want to see in the classroom. And then it also helps if it's reusable material, maybe technology or equipment for the schools that they're going to get to use versus a one-time experience. When we get those applications back, another cool piece for us is that we actually enlist the help of our partners to help score those applications. So we have community members that score, and then we use some district folks to help us tie in the relevance and make sure that the grants are indeed in line with the district's priorities.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank y'all very much for that update.
Absolutely.
That's
Thank
wonderful
you.
news. We love that kind of news. Okay, next is the personnel report. Board members, in your packet, you should have received the resignations for the 2020-21 school year. Does anybody have a problem with us doing that in open session? Okay, I need a motion to approve that. Oh. Motion made by Mr. Farnsworth. Do I have a second? Seconded by Ms. Wimberly. Any discussion? All in favor? 6 and 1 absent. Okay, we're going to move on to our unfinished business now. Oh, I'm sorry, we also had recommendations in there as well, teacher recommendations. That was resignations, and I didn't mention that, so I guess we need to do that separately to approve that. So can I have a motion for that as well?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie, second by Mr. Farnsworth. Any discussion on that? All in favor? 6 and 1 absent. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, next on the agenda is under unfinished business. And it is the letter that we spoke about at our last board meeting, that I asked you to give me the authorization to write a letter to our delegation about the cap, the 15% cap. Great news on that. We have written that letter. That letter was actually sent out within a week of our board meeting. And also, we have received several responses back. The day that Representative Murphy received it, he actually sent a quick little text out and just said, "Thank you for sending it. We appreciate it. We've gotten the letter. We've heard it. And these are the steps." A few days later, I think the district received a written letter from him and basically saying the same thing. And then no later than today, I received a letter from our senator, Senator Bennett, and he just wanted to let us know that he has also received the letter and that there is a proviso that was put into the 2020 budget, and I'm gonna give this to Mr. Pye and let the district research it, but I'd also like to point this out to our legislative team, that there's a proviso, a budget proviso that was 1.93, and it's saying that it is not going to be restricted for the 15% cap. So, but what we need to know is we just need to know, is that a one-year thing or is that an ongoing? So if you guys might want to just look into that and see where we need to go from there. But that's great news, because at least we know they've gotten the information, they're reacting to the information, they're looking at it, and it is actually now in committee to be reviewing it. So hopefully we'll get some good feedback on that. So also, the next is our letter regarding the COVID-19 vaccine for teachers. And I just wanted to say that letter was, again, you gave me the authority to write that letter. That letter was written, and it, again, was sent out the same week to Governor McMaster. And so we have followed up with that, and I think the legislative team has got some other things that they've talked about, and I want to turn it over to Ms. Robinson right now so she can kind of elaborate a little bit on that for us.
Thank you. First, let me preface it with some information that just came out from our governor. And he says, beginning Monday, February 8th, any South Carolina resident age 65 or older, regardless of health status or pre-existing conditions, can begin scheduling their appointment to receive COVID-19 vaccines. And then he went on to say that we have a moral and ethical duty to first vaccinate the South Carolinians who are at the highest risk of dying from the virus, at this time placing a younger person between a senior citizen and what could be life-saving shot would be unconscionable and irresponsible. Today's action will save lives and allow our teachers to be vaccinated next. Our concern as a board is that we agree that older folks obviously statistically are the ones that are dying from it, but we are tired of our teachers kind of getting bumped. Even though they're 1B, it seems like somebody keeps getting ahead of them. And so as a board, a letter was written to our governor, and if you would like, I can read the letter, or if you would not want me to do that.
Well, I have copies of the letters here too, and this is the same letter that was actually put on the website as well and sent out to all of our district people. But there is a copy of the letter there if you'd like to read it from there.
That's easier to read than my phone.
Yeah.
Just for your FYI, this is what the board has sent out to Governor McMaster. The Dorchester School District 2 Board of Trustees is writing to ask for your support and assistance in prioritizing the COVID-19 vaccine for South Carolina educators as essential workers. We appreciate the leadership and support you have provided citizens of this state over these many months to promote public health and safety during this pandemic. On numerous occasions, you have publicly emphasized the importance of students being in the classroom for face-to-face instruction to promote their academic and physical well-being. As leaders of this school district, we also recognize schools are essential in addressing the academic, social, and emotional needs of our children, as well as the economic infrastructure of our community. Dorchester School District 2 has worked tirelessly to ensure that our schools have appropriate risk mitigation measures and protocols in place to protect students and staff. The federal and state support to provide resources in these efforts have been critical. However, we find ourselves challenged to calm fears of staff members and parents as the population in our buildings increase while community spread of the virus remains high. It is now equally important to provide priority access to vaccines for educators and school-related personnel. I repeat, it is important to provide priority access to vaccines for educators and school-related personnel. At a time of teacher shortages at the state and national level, we can ill afford to lose teachers due to concerns for their safety while in schools. The educators in our district have given tirelessly in time, effort, and dedication as they put students first. By expediting the availability of the vaccine for educators, we are making our children a priority. We need our teachers healthy and present for face-to-face learning. On behalf of the Dorchester School District 2 Board of Trustees, we thank you for your time and consideration of this request to include K-12 educators and school-related personnel as a priority in the next phase of vaccine distribution. We appreciate that you are working hard to make the best decisions for South Carolina during this challenging time, and it is signed by our chairman, Gail Hughes. We decided, though, the legislative team, that we needed to hand carry this, and so we made appointments, and we're meeting two of our local state representatives, Chris Murphy tomorrow morning, and also Gil Gatch tomorrow morning, and they know what we're coming for, and they are very much supportive, and they want us to come. We are hand carrying this letter along with I think a potential resolution we're going to vote on. And I also wanted to tell, and I'll save it for another time, but I wanted to catch up on some legislation that's going on that Representative Gatch did send. But they're doing things with education at the State House right now, and then it'll go to the Senate. And there's some really good things like less testing, things like that. So if you want, you can look at it. It's about this long, but I can report that out again at the next meeting. Okay. Thank you. Oh, and we're going to see Senator Bennett next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Okay, and as Ms. Robinson spoke, we do have the resolution that we also spoke about at the last meeting that we wanted to send following the letter to Governor McMaster. And along with this going to Governor McMaster, we'd also like to attach a copy to go to our legislative delegation when we hand deliver those to them. So I'm going to just read the resolution, and then I'll need an approval for the resolution, as well as I will need every board member to sign the resolution so that we can move forward with sending the copies out to the necessary, our necessary delegation and our governor. The resolution reads as follows. Resolution is dated February 8th, 2021. A resolution to support the prioritizing of the COVID-19 vaccine for South Carolina educators as essential workers in the state vaccine distribution plan. Whereas we firmly believe the public schools are essential in addressing the academic, social, and emotional needs of our children, as well as the economic infrastructure of the community, and whereas our school district has responded to the challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, providing risk mitigation measures and safety protocols to protect the health and safety of our students and staff, and whereas state and federal governments have provided school districts with guidance and resources as precautionary measures to stop the disease spread, and whereas the Board of Trustees has substantial public interest in protecting the health and safety of its students and staff and ensuring that they are provided with safe and effective learning environment that supports student achievement, and whereas educators in Dorchester School District 2 have given tirelessly in time, effort, and dedication to put students first during this challenging time. And whereas with school districts faced with teacher shortages at the state and national level, it is critical that teachers feel safe to be present in our classrooms for face-to-face instruction. And whereas school and district staff are essential to the day-to-day operations of this district and the education of all students and their social and emotional well-being. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Dorchester School District 2 Board of Trustees requests that Governor Henry McMaster give appropriate priority in the statewide administration of the COVID-19 vaccine to all public school personnel as essential workers in the vaccine distribution plan. So if anyone would like to see a copy of that or to have a copy of that, I can certainly get that. I think you received a copy of it in your packets, but if you need a hard copy, we can do that as well. But I will need a motion to approve that, and then I would like to get signatures on that from everybody. So I have a motion from Mr. Mitchum. I need a second. Seconded by Ms. Wimberly. Any discussion? Questions?
Just quickly, and it was interesting because there was a lot of back and forth this weekend on this particular issue and what Governor McMaster put out over the weekend. One of the pushback items was we're trying to jump the line. We're requesting to jump the line, and I think about that. I don't think that's the case at all. I think what we're trying to say is we're trying to prioritize, our folks that are in these classrooms every day. We've done everything we can. We've done our part. The governor, the superintendent, everybody's pushing us, to get back in school face to face. And as long as you can do that safely with all the necessary pieces and protocols and PPE and vaccinations that I think are part of that, then we're all on board. And so all we're saying is, listen, we've done our part. We've done every single thing we can. We need your help now in prioritizing that. So maybe it's a supply and demand issue. I think it's probably more of that than the fact that we're really trying to jump the line. I can promise you no one here is trying to jump the line. We're just trying to prioritize what we feel is important. I would equate our teachers and our educators as first line responders. They're going to be in classrooms for 8 hours a day amongst a lot of bodies. And if it makes them feel more comfortable, then I think we need to advocate and push for that. So I'm excited, and thank you for drafting all of that material.
Well, can I just add one thing, too? We've always known we were 1B, but I think what's bothering us is other people are jumping ahead of us, and it's being reprioritized. It's like the target keeps moving, and that's what we want to have stopped. But thank you, because we're not trying to jump anybody. We're trying to just be fair.
Any other comments? Concerns? No? Okay. Then what I will need to do is before you leave tonight, if you would please just sign this over. Huh? Yeah, we didn't vote, did we? Okay, that was discussions. Okay, all in favor? 6 and 1 absent. Thank you, Justin. Okay, next on the agenda is other business and correspondence. We have the 2021 NSBA Equity Symposium, which is going to be virtual. If any of you, that's going to be on February the 10th. If any of you are interested in that, please let this sweet lady over here in the corner, let her know, and she will get you registered, and then we will, then you can just sign on virtually. She'll send you all the information in that, the login information. So, okay, public comments, we have a few of those. So the first one that I have is Tiffany Doris. Is it Tiffany Doris?
I tried to fix my handwriting. I guess it's still not good. Good evening. I've heard many people concerned that children aren't learning and angry because, according to them, teachers aren't teaching. I have serious issues with these kinds of statements, especially when they come from the members of the board. or when the board does not take the time to dispute them. If you were talking to teachers and students, you would know firsthand there's more learning happening now than there has in any year previously. Education, however, has become less about content and more about responsibility, autonomy, communication, and self-advocacy. These are skills that students can take with them into adulthood, unlike many of the trivial standards we spend so much time worrying about. Education should be about teaching children to face new challenges with confidence. I've heard many people say that we have to get back to school because we're falling behind. I don't understand this statement for two reasons. Number one, school never stopped. And number two, we were never ahead. The top 3 most educated countries are Canada, Japan, and Israel. The United States is number 6. The US did not make the list of the best performing educational systems in the world. In fact, we ranked 26th overall in education. South Carolina, as compared to the rest of the country, ranks 43rd. We should all be concerned with these statistics, but these statistics have nothing to do with COVID or what's happening with the schools. In fact, I think most of the concerns that you've heard so much about in the last 9 months are really due to a reluctance to accept change. Things will get easier if we keep pushing forward. I'm concerned that when we return face-to-face, school will return to status quo, and we will lose all of the progress we've made. The world is changing, and we have to get in front of the pendulum. In my opinion, the primary reason students are struggling is because there is a lack of technology education in our district. Even as we try to push schools towards STEM, the approach is entirely lacking in foundation. Technology curriculum and computational thinking needs to start in elementary school. Our children need to learn how to navigate the internet, how to conduct their own inquiries, and how to use the computer applications to create things. School is supposed to be the great equalizer, but this lack of curriculum and instruction is putting our students at a global disadvantage. Please consider changing or modifying elementary curriculum to include computational thinking and technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doris. Next is Jason Bockhart.
Good evening again. And I'd actually like to say thank you, Ms. Doris, for that piece. That actually echoes what I was saying a few weeks ago here. Part of what we're not seeing where we say students are falling behind is that their activity on their devices in the digital community, being able to source information and leverage their social counterparts, whether or not they're sitting face to face, is a critical skill. It has been a critical skill for several years. It's been made more important over the last year. It's seen in every industry. There are very few that do not talk across country borders. We're not talking about children that can't sit in school. We're talking about people that communicate large ideas. They communicate spanning hundreds of thousands of people's lives. And they don't have to do it face-to-face. I get it that face-to-face communication is often more adequate for personal interactions, but not necessarily for the sharing of information. And I segued a little bit far off of that. So I do want to say thank you for Mr. Pye when you talked about going through the schools and evaluating exactly what we're doing, the extra measures that are being put forth, evaluating what we feel is working and what isn't working. I really hope that it continues to be in a good light, because right now we're still looking at hybrid, which is half capacity, right? So what does that picture look like when you automatically double the student body that's occupying those same spaces? Looking at all of the data that's there about the children's likelihood of contracting or distributing COVID, and we all pretty much agree that children are less likely, and it's gradual as as children get older. So in your middle schools and your high schools, it's more of a concern. So when we talk about addressing vaccines for teachers, and they look at children's educators as one bucket, one group. Well, if we separate out the more likely, the higher risk categories, and ask for them to get a higher order in the line, it makes more sense, right? Because somebody will look at an elementary school teacher and say, well, those kids can't pass COVID, it's not a big deal. So there are lots of details. They span both sides of the bridge. They need to be evaluated fully. A lot of times asking for extremes, like it's either left or right, is what gets us to the points of division and the points of being denied or approved. So please look for the minute details and address them accordingly and with purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brockert. Next is Philip Hall.
Thank you all. I just want to say thank you all to making the decision that you guys made, I know which was a tough one as a board, to go back to hybrid and then eventually face-to-face. I truly believe that that was the best decision that could have been made, not only for our children, but for our entire district. I believe we made it in the nick of time. Ever since we've had our last school board meeting, almost daily, I don't know if you saw that gentleman from, the dad from Virginia that got up and screamed at the board. And I'll circle back to him in a minute, but he was speaking for every parent out there, screaming for their children. It was recently just written that children and young adults are experiencing increased mental health issues and suicide at an alarming rate within the age groups of being young adults. In Nevada, there was 18 suicides between March of last year and December of this past year. There was just another suicide in Illinois, another one in Maryland, and these are daily news reports of parents getting on saying, my kid, and I don't care how popular they are, or four-star athlete in Illinois, or how unpopular they are and struggling, they're all screaming because they're isolated, they're depressed, they want to get back to their normal lives, they want to get back to their teachers that they love, that they really like, they're doing a great job. I know for our kids, we've never seen them so excited to go back to school. They're very happy to go back to school and be in that environment. So, and I'll be the first one, me and my wife would both, if as a veteran I get called all the time about the flu shot, I'd give up my place in line to give it to a teacher to get a vaccine if that would help them feel more comfortable. Absolutely. But we can't go backwards. We have to keep going forward now, and we have to catch up because we've fallen behind. I think as a country, as a world, those that have kept their kids out of school have fallen behind. We have a lot of catching up to do, and as parents, we'll definitely help that. Every teacher knows that in our children's schools knows that we have their backs. And I do want to say a special shout out to the middle school principal because every time we spoke of an issue here, he's always called us the next day. So I know he's watching. And in particular, I want to say the Read 180 teacher, Miss Cumby, is one heck of a teacher. She has helped our middle school son immensely and calls us on her off time also. So I just want to say thank you very much to that. But just understand that all the times we got up here, it wasn't yelling just for us. It was yelling for our kids. So thank you all, and thank you to every teacher that's deciding to stay and teach our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Next person is Ken Greenstreet.
Good evening. Abraham Lincoln said, "Let the Constitution be taught in schools and seminaries, and in colleges. Let it be written in primary spelling books and in almanacs. Let it be preached from the pulpit, proclaimed in legislative halls, enforced in courts of justice, and in short, let it become the political religion of the nation." Close quote. The United States Constitution was written to allow the American people to rule themselves with limited government involvement, if, as John Adams said, we are a moral and righteous people. All around us, we see moral rot and a general malaise. In 2010, the Defense Department estimated that 75% of young adults could not serve in the military due to criminal records, obesity, or lack of education. As people learn less and less about the Constitution, they increasingly use the Constitution as an excuse to do whatever they want. "It's my constitutional right," people say. But JFK's line, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country," is completely lost on the majority of youth today. I am speaking to you tonight, and everyone listening at home, not as school board members, but as parents and fellow Americans. Outside of our homes, there is not a lot we can do about the moral decay of America. You cannot legislate morals. But in the school system, the Constitution needs to be taught early and throughout elementary school and high school. In the Bible, it says that there is no new thing under the sun, and that is true with governments. One could call 12 years of teaching the Constitution indoctrination, but I would rather live in an America under the Constitution that allows us to fix flaws than under any other form of government an Antifa member, for example, in all their supposed infinite wisdom, thinks they can produce. Democracy and communism are like light and darkness. When one recedes, the other fills the void. If you do not already, I am asking you to personally audit what is being taught in classrooms. You may say the Constitution is being taught, but I can look at the results of the American education system and tell you that it is not taught often or well enough. According to a poll commissioned by the Washington, D.C. area prophet victims of communism, 70% of millennials say they are likely to vote for a socialist, while 1 in 3 view communism favorably. I have heard that Governor McMaster is planning to buy textbooks printed in China, I'm sure by an American company over there. But think about that for a second. Communist China will print American textbooks. Why invade America when you can dumb down its students to gradually reject democracy and accept communism, which has killed over 100 million people? I am but one voice, but this is a dumb idea. That's all I have. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Greenstreet. Okay, board members, if no one else has anything else, I will need a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie. Second? Second made by Ms. Wimberly. All in favor? 6 and 1 absent. Thank y'all very much for coming.